Bealtaine, which is also anglicized as Beltane, is one of Ireland's 4 fire festivals in folk, magic and spirituality tradition. It's often celebrated on the 30th of April, or May Eve, the evening before May. So I thought I'd make a little video for today to talk about some of the traditions surrounding this festival. If you're new to my channel, Folklore, welcome. It's Misha Amy. I'm Amy, the Crafty Kylac. And if you're returning to the channel, welcome back. Thank you very much for coming back, and I'm really looking forward to talking about more Irish traditions in this video. I create and upload videos on Irish history, folklore and magic, with a particular interest on women in history, Irish folklore traditions, storytelling, and also Irish magic, Irish folk magic, and Irish spirituality. So if you like any of those topics, if you'd like to know more about any of those topics, hit subscribe, click the bell for notifications so you can find out when I have new videos up. I generally upload at least once a week, and I have lots of really great content planned for the next few months. Also, if you have any suggestions on topics that I could cover, if you have any questions on any of those topics, drop a comment in the comment section below and let me know. Because while I do have a lot of content planned, I also want to know what you want to know, and you can let me know by putting a comment down below. So I know that Beltane is often celebrated by Wiccans, and people of other traditions have similarly named festivals around May, particularly in the Celtic nations, across Europe, and so on. But this video I will be talking about Bealtaine, which is specific to Ireland and the Irish folk traditions that we have. So firstly, I'm going to talk about the name of the festival, which is Bealtaine, as I've already said. So Bealtaine is actually also the modern Irish word for our month of May and the start of the summer months. So May Eve would be Ihe Bealtaine, which is the evening before May, which is the 31st of April, as I've already said. Sorry, this is editing crafty, and I meant the 30th of April here. Who am I, Stephen Donnelly? Law Bealtaine would be the day of Bealtaine, the first day of Bealtaine, which is May Day, typically, as it's referred to. And then Mi Bealtaine is actually the month of May. So this is very common in the Irish tradition, particularly with our 4 fire festivals. Not so much with Imbolc, because Imbolc is actually Fiora in the month of February is Fiora in the Irish language. But with Bealtaine, which is May, Lunasa, which is August, and Samhain, which is November, the fire festival traditions typically happen the day or the evening before the festival, or the month of the festival. And typically the magic seems to happen around that as well. So I'll also be talking about our divination, our protection magic, and also the piseoga, or the charms, also known as superstitions, in the Irish tradition. Just to very quickly give a note on the etymology of Bealtaine, because I am a linguistics nerd, I am a language nerd, and I love finding out what words mean. Now, with Bealtaine, there's a little bit of scholarly debate about what it means, and there's also unscholarly debate about what Bealtaine means. Some people think it means bright fire, so Beltane, and Tinna being the modern Irish word for fire. Some think it means bright light, and there's also an opinion that it means Baelor's fire or Baal's fire. Now, Baal wouldn't have been a specific god in the Irish tradition. We do have stories where we have Baelor, and given the association of Baelor and his eye, and also the superstitions around casting an evil eye in the Irish tradition, particularly around Bealtaine, I can see how that would maybe make sense, but there's no definitive notion or belief or a single point that everybody agrees on what Bealtaine actually means. On the Dictionary of Irish Language online, which has an absolutely fantastic array of old Irish words taken in the Irish language from old scriptures that we have, and written texts and manuscripts, which I would highly recommend checking out. I'm going to leave a link in the comments. But I had a look there for an etymology of Bealtaine, and what came up was actually kind of interesting. So I'm just going to look at my notes now, but when I typed in Bealtaine, Ketmin came up, or what might be in the modern Irish language, Céad Samhain is how I've seen it talked about. So it's Caitmin, Caitmun, Céad Samhain, or Cet Tamin, or Cet Tamin, Tamina, or Tawana, depending. There's a lot of different variations on the spelling, and there's a reference to that equating to Bealtaine, and given that Bealtaine and Samhain are 6 months apart on the calendar, pretty much on the calendar in terms of the months of the year, but also the calendar in terms of the changes of season as well, it's interesting that that would be Céad Samhain, which in Irish would be the first Samhain. And also I found reference to Elscoth or Elsud, which is translated on the Dictionary of Irish Language.ie, so DIL.ie, as an intense heat or scorching. And this seems to be in reference to one particular manuscript where there is intense heat and scorching o Bealtaine co or go to Lunasa, which would basically dictate that there was very intense heat or scorching, maybe from the sunshine, from Bealtaine or May to August or Lunasa. So yeah, that would be our summer season here, where we would get the most intense weather. Now, maybe through global warming, maybe, yeah, probably, let's face it, probably through global warming, we do tend to get very good sunshine and sometimes intense heat into September now in Ireland. But it's interesting that that's noted down in the Dictionary of Irish online. And yeah, go check that out for yourself. There's lots of different rabbit holes you can fall down with the Irish language. I'm also going to leave more resources down in the description as well. I'm very much covering the bare Bealtaine basics here, so if you do want to learn more after watching this video, do check out the other links that are in the description. So first of all, we have protection magic. Now, protection magic is very, very common in the Irish tradition and Irish folk magic. And you know, prevention is better than cure sometimes. And we do have a lot of cures as well, and we have a lot of healing magic in the tradition. But it's always good to prevent things from happening first. So with the protection magic, one of the biggest or maybe most well-known or most common protection magic or protection rituals, I suppose you could say, in that it was something that people would do in a kind of ritual regular form, was walking the boundaries of their land or their property. Now, there was a couple of different reasons for this. One maybe very practical reason that maybe didn't have to do with superstition or belief was it's kind of a good idea to walk the boundary of your land, particularly if you're a farmer. You have lots of new lambs, new calves, new livestock that are being born at springtime, and you want to make sure that after the winter that your boundaries, your fences and everything are very secure so that you don't lose any livestock. So that's very practical in sense, but also you would have walked the land to try and suss out if any piseoga or any charms or spells were being put on your livestock as well, or on your crops. I'll talk a little bit about that a little bit later. But basically you would walk your land and see if anybody had buried anything in your field, or if they had left rotten meat or eggs in with your livestock, which would have negative consequences. Also, for protection, people would, on May Eve, Bealtaine Eve, you would have bonfires, and typically you would walk your cattle over the bonfires, either over the embers of the fire or between two bonfires that were flaming, and you would walk your cattle between them. And that was seen to protect them for the upcoming year and the upcoming season. Also, people would pick yellow flowers, maybe because specifically yellow flowers tend to bloom this time of year. In my garden, I have lots of dandelions, I have lots of rapeseed flowers, and there's also on Irish country roads, there'll be a lot of primroses, like light yellow, pale yellow primroses. So those would be very typically the flowers that would be around at this time of year. So yellow flowers would be picked and thrown on the front and back of the house, on windowsills, outside the front doors, and kind of along the boundary of your property for protection. Also, people would either chop branches off a bush, a May bush, or they would decorate a bush on their property and then light it up. And this was said to protect them from thunder and lightning during the season. There's also lots of belief around luck and Bealtaine. So it was seen and is still seen, because this is very much a living tradition, but it's noted in the folklore collections that we have that it's unlucky to bring white thorn or white thorn blossoms into your home during the entire month of Bealtaine. And it's also unlucky to enter your neighbour's house on Bealtaine morning. A lot of the traditions will be applicable from sundown or the evening of May Eve, so the day before May, and also up until noon of the first day. Though some people definitely hold the traditions for the entire day. It's very unlucky to give something away. Typically, what we have written down is that it's unlucky to give away milk or butter or cream, dairy products basically, and that would have probably been because those were people's livelihoods. So not only was it like a staple food that they would have had to eat, but also it would be something that they would have used to basically have wealth. There's a lot of traditions in Irish folk magic, particularly also pertaining to the good folk around dairy products. The whole concept of not giving away dairy products is because it's said to give away your luck for the year, give away your prosperity for the year, and that's not really something you want to be doing right at the start of the season, where you're going to be rearing livestock, getting ready for harvest in a few months. So yeah. One of the notes I took from an account on ducas.ie from the school's collection said, Níl sé ceart bainne nó im a thuairt amach, which means it's not right to give out. Bainne is milk or im is butter. That note was taken on a specific entry about Piseoga na Beltane, which are the Pishogs or piseoga of Beltane, the month of May, or the festival of May. Now, I'm going to do a little note on Piseogs because they can be a little bit tricky. So in De Folklore 1959 dictionary, Piseogs are said to be either superstition or medicine. Now, in the O'Donnell and Meaning dictionary in 1991 on Folklore Piseog, it says a Piseog is creative in riacht agus I gcursaí os nó dúrtha, which is belief in magic, and cursaí os nó dúrtha are things that are of a supernatural nature. But in O'Donnell's 1977 dictionary, a piseog is a charm or a spell. And if you're ag Dainamh piseog or ag Dainamh piseoga, which is plural, you would be casting spells or compounding charms. And then the second entry for piseog in the 1977 dictionary says superstitious practices or superstition. So piseog can be either a superstition or specifically a charm or spell. Some of the piseoga that relate to, I suppose you could call it magic work, and belief in magic and belief in the supernatural include using the morning dew on May morning, on the 1st of May, in the grass to wash your face with. And it's believed that if you do this, then you'll have no blemishes on your face, you'll have beautifully clear skin. There's some accounts of saying that you won't get sunburn for the summer. And again, referring back to what I was saying about scorching heat for the 3 months of summer, that would have been also very nice if you didn't get sunburn while you're out like toiling the fields. And also it was said that you wouldn't get any blemishes you wouldn't get any skin disease, or you wouldn't get any blemishes. So not only would it maybe clear what you had, but it also would protect your skin for the season or for the rest of the year. Now, earlier I mentioned that farmers people would just walk their land, as a lot of people kept livestock or kept crops on their own land. And the reason for this, as I said, was to look for Pishogs. Now, what people would do to maybe attack their rival, to affect somebody's luck for the year, and sometimes it was said that this was being done by the good folk or by a witch or something. Not that we had many witches, but in order to get one up on your neighbour or get one up on your rival, you might put an egg into their barn with their livestock, and this is said to cause cows to lose their calves. Also putting rotten meat, or putting meat and left to rot in the cows or the livestock hay. If the livestock then ate that, they would either get very, very sick or also die. There's also accounts of people burying eggs and burying almost little poppet dolls made out of hay on people's land in their farms and causing their crops to fail. So a lot of it revolved around basically preventing that from happening. Because again, coming into a season where it's all revolving around putting work into your crops and into your livestock and making sure that you're going to have a plentiful harvest at the end of the season, it's really important to ensure that you're being proactive in that. Some other traditions include divination, or basically kind of trying to tell the future. So it's said that if you marry in May, you're going to rue the day. So May is not a month for marriage. However, if in May you come across a snail and the snail has a brown shell, then that's going to be the colour of your future spouse's hair. In Irish folklore as well, there's often a very popular aversion to red-haired women, which basically says that, and kind of common throughout the year, not just Bealtaine, but I did find a specific reference to Bealtaine. And if you're on the way to a Bealtaine fair or a May Day fair to sell your livestock, or just to go yourself just for a visit or to go and get something, and you come across a red-haired woman, that you might as well turn around, because you're going to have bad luck for the rest of the day. Another example of Bealtaine divination was to clean your floors, and after you've cleaned them, put ash or flour by the doorway. And if that morning of May, so you do this May Eve, and in the morning on the 1st of May, if there was footprints going out the door, so facing as if someone had left the house, then that would basically predict that someone was going to pass away. And if there was footprints looking like someone had come in the door, that said that there was going to be a marriage in the house. So that's it for this video, and for Bealtaine traditions. I couldn't possibly have covered them all in this one video, but check the description below. There's lots of different resources, podcasts, blog posts, videos, paid courses that you can check out to learn more about Bealtaine. And let me know in the comments if you're thinking about doing any of these traditions, or if you have any Bealtaine traditions of your own that you're going to be doing this year. I'll certainly be grabbing my yellow flowers and walking my boundaries and making sure my protections are up for this upcoming year. So slán go fóill, I'll see you in the next video. Also, a massive thank you to everyone who's subscribed so far. I am kind of shocked and also delighted. I've just hit 100 subscribers, which is massive. I never thought I'd even get 10. So I'm really glad people are enjoying the videos. And again, if you'd like to see anything specifically, put it in the comments below. Thank you so much. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.